Welcome to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out all of my Jurassic World Dominion dinosaur figures. Let's get started with this classic ginormous T-Rex figure. This Dominion T-Rex has a dark brown body with the black along the top. It's got the barcode scanner right on its back right there. And it's got a pretty thick neck and a pretty big head compared to a lot of the other T-Rex figures. It's got some evil yellow looking eyes. It's got a mouthful of teeth, plus the mouth actually has a throat, so you can actually fit some miniature dinosaurs in there. It doesn't have a stomach compartment, but as you can see, you could probably fit a few small dinosaurs in there. And the coolest feature of this figure is that it's got a button on its tail to activate the jaw, and you can move the tail to swing the torso around too. So it makes it look really lifelike. Next up, we've got a Mega Raptor figure. This is one of my newest figures that I bought fairly recently. It's pretty awesome. It's got those huge claws in the front. It's got a red and a dark blue body. It's got some feathering detailing along its back and along its head, as well as some white detailing right along its face. It's got the barcode scanner right on its back. You can twist the tail. The tail also has some cool looking feathers, which is pretty unique. And you can adjust the arms and legs of this figure. Plus, there is a chomping action when you press down on its body. Got some sound effects too. That's pretty cool. This, I believe, is the Majungasaurus figure. This dinosaur has a lighter underbelly, a dark green side, and the brown detailing along the top. It's got some cool ridges right along its head, as well as the super tall orange ridge right on the top of its head. And you can move the arms and legs of this figure, as well as swivel the tail around to control the neck. And with this figure, you can actually adjust the standing pose by moving its legs. See how it leans down when you adjust the legs? That's a pretty cool feature. Not that many other figures that I have work like that. And of course, it's got the button on its tail to activate the jaw. This wild looking dinosaur is the Ichthyovenator. This dinosaur has a dark green body along its underside and on its sides, and it's got the super bright green detailing right along its spine and on its tail too. This is a pretty unique tail. This dinosaur has a long snout with a bunch of teeth inside. And the best part is that this dinosaur has an action when you press down on its body. It does a chomping action. Here we've got a ginormous Allosaurus figure, but not only that, this is an extreme battle damage Allosaurus. I think it's the only one I have that is a battle damage edition. This Allosaurus is almost as big as most of the T-Rex figures I have, which is unusual for an Allosaurus figure, and it's pretty adjustable. You can swivel the tail all around, you can move the legs and the arms, and there's a button on its back to activate the jaw too. But the coolest part is the extreme battle damage on its side. You can hide it completely, and then you can spring it open. It's spring-loaded, and you can even lift up the ribs to check out the insides underneath. I think that's its stomach right there. It's pretty squishy. That is really cool. And you can close it up and hide it. This is the Atrociraptor figure from Jurassic World Dominion. It's got the dark red eyes and the brown striping, which is actually very similar to this super colossal Atrociraptor that I have back here. Look at that, they're pretty similar. On this little figure, its mouth is closed and you can't open it. But on this super colossal figure, it is a lot more adjustable. It has those same dark red eyes, the striping all along its body, and this super colossal figure has the stomach compartment, so you can actually feed this huge figure smaller dinosaurs. This is the Rajasaurus figure in the dark blue edition. As you can see, most of its body is that dark blue-gray color. It's got some white detailing along its neck, on its arms, and on its chin. It's got some big old spines right along the top of its neck, and this figure actually has a chomping action when you press down on its body. I've noticed that they're doing this chomping action for a lot of the new Jurassic World Dominion figures. And I've actually got another Rajasaurus figure with different coloring here. This one is dark brown along its body and undersides, and it's got the dark blue just along the top and along those spines right there. It's got the horn on the top of its head and that same chomping action when you press down on its body. Moving along, we've got the Sound Surge T-Rex figure. This figure is a lot smaller than most of the T-Rex figures I have, but you can swivel the tail around, you can move the legs, and the arm, and you can open and close the jaw manually. You'll see that the tongue and lower teeth are not colored though, which is kind of a bummer, but it still has a cool feature that when you press down on the button, you get some T-Rex sound effects. Speaking of T-Rexes, I've got this huge super colossal T-Rex figure from Jurassic World Dominion. This figure is ginormous. Check it out. It has similar coloring as the first T-Rex that we saw in this video, but it has some cool features as well. Since it's a super colossal T-Rex, it has the stomach compartment, so you can feed this dinosaur smaller dinosaurs down its throat all the way to the stomach. And that is pretty cool. Next up, we've got a Giganotosaurus figure. I believe this is the Strike and Roar figure. It comes with two awesome functions. The first swings its torso and its head around for that chomping action. And the second button on the bottom of its tail opens and closes the jaw for roaring. That's pretty cool. That's some pretty wild movement. Over here in the corner, you may have already noticed, I've got another Giganotosaurus figure. This one is the Super Colossal Edition, and it is huge, just like the other Super Colossal figures. It's got the dark green body with black detailing. It's got the huge jaw with some really pointy long teeth. And since it's a Super Colossal figure, it has the stomach compartment for feeding smaller dinosaurs. Next, I've even got some brand new figures that we're gonna open up on camera. This one was a bit damaged in shipping, as you can see. This is the Velociraptor Blue and Atrociraptor pack. Let's check it out. Here is the Atrociraptor Blue pack. You move its neck up and down, you can open and close its jaw, as well as move its arms and its legs. And here is the super bright orange and white Atrociraptor. And this Atrociraptor has the same movements as Velociraptor Blue. You can move the neck up and down, you can open and close the jaw, and move the arms and legs too. And it's got the barcode scanner right at the top of its back too. This is the Sound Surge Carnotaurus figure. It's pretty basic in design and not a ton of coloring. It's like almost completely red. It's got a little bit of white underneath its chin, and like the other Sound Surge figures, its tongue and its lower teeth are not colored, which is a bit of a bummer. But let's check out those sound effects that you can activate by pressing this button on its back. Here is the basic Pyroraptor figure. This figure is a dark red color with some black along its tail and its legs, as well as some black detailing right along its face too. And on this figure, you can only move its arms, its legs, and its tail a little bit. Speaking of Pyroraptor, I've got this ultimate uncaged Pyroraptor. Let's open it up and check it out. Here is the uncaged Pyroraptor, and this figure is huge. This Pyroraptor has sensors all over its face and on its chin, so you actually can do quite a bit with this figure. There's a training mode, there's a play mode, there's a wild mode. So let's check it out and see what kind of sound effects it comes with. Wow, that's pretty cool. I think it's in wild mode right now, because it's roaring a lot at me. All right, now its eyes turn blue. Let's see what happens when I touch those sensors. Wow, there's so much you can do with this thing. You can even train this Pyroraptor, which it's not obeying me right now, so it's obviously not trained right now, but that's pretty cool. I could spend a lot of time on this figure. You gotta check it out for yourself. Over here, we've got the Rowdy Roars Atrociraptor figure. This figure is also battery operated. Let's see what happens when you tap the top of its head. So it's got some sound effects, and it can open and close its jaw too. That's pretty neat. Over here, we've also got the Rowdy Roars Dilophosaurus figure. This one is also battery operated. So let's check that out. Let's see what sound effects this one can make too. That's pretty cool. Here is another Giganotosaurus figure. This is the Sound Surge edition. So it's a bit smaller than many of the other Giganotosaurus figures, and it's fairly adjustable. You can open and close the jaw, and move the arms, the legs, and the tail. And of course, it's got the sound effects too. This is the Extreme Damage Dimetrodon. It has a light green body and the super bright spine on its back. And it's got the battle damage right on its side that you can turn on and turn off with the click of a button. Here is a smaller Carnotaurus figure. This one is dark green and orange, and it is pretty adjustable. You can move the neck, you can open and close the jaw, and you can move all the limbs as well. We've got a couple small Atrociraptor figures in here. Here is the classic white with brown striping Atrociraptor. And over here, we've got a light tan Atrociraptor with brown striping that's in a crawling pose. That's pretty cool. Next up, we've got an extreme battle damage Velociraptor. This Velociraptor has a white underbelly and sides with the dark blue on top, and the extreme battle damage right on the side that you can turn on and off. And this final dinosaur is an extreme battle damage Coeluris. It has the dark green body with the red legs, tail, and head, and it's got the extreme battle damage just like the Velociraptor that you can turn on and off. Welcome to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today I've got all my Jurassic World Dominion figures, and I've even got some new ones that we're going to open up. I've got this empty space on my shelf, so today we are going to do a Jurassic World Dominion shelf build. The first that I'm going to put on the shelf is the Therizinosaurus. This figure is mostly black, but it's got some green and it's got a red stripe down its back. So let's put that on the lower shelf right here. The next one is this huge Giganotosaurus figure. This figure has the iconic soft green color with the black detailing along its back. It's got that huge spine and those really cool looking teeth. And this figure actually has two action buttons. The first is with this button on top that swings the torso back and forth. And the second is a button on the bottom of its tail used for opening and closing its mouth. So let's put that on the right side of the lower shelf. I've also got a smaller Giganotosaurus figure here. This is the Sound Surge Giganotosaurus. So as you'll notice, quite a bit smaller than this one right here, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it right next to the larger one. In the back here, I've got a huge Tyrannosaurus Rex figure. This figure is a lot darker color than a lot of the other T-Rexes that you'll see I have on the shelves over here, but it still has the same awesome button on its tail to control the jaw, and you can use the tail to twist the torso around too. So let's go ahead and put this right next to the Giganotosauruses. Why don't we go ahead and open up these ones that I bought for this video. This first brand new one, I believe, is pronounced an Ichthyovenator. Wow, that's a long word. But let's open it up and check it out. Here it is out of the box. It's got a dark green body, but a super bright lime green tail and spine on top of its back. This figure also has an action button that when you press down on its body, it does the chomping action. And it's got some sound effects too. That's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and put this on the higher shelf right up here. Next, I've got the Extreme Damage Allosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion. I'm super excited about this one. I've been waiting to get my hands on this one. This is probably my biggest Allosaurus figure. I have other Allosauruses that are similar colors as this, but none of them have this awesome battle damage on the side. As you can see, you can actually lift the rib cage up to reveal the stomach beneath it, or you can close it all the way to make it not have any battle damage at all. That is super cool. Plus, I believe it has one action button on its back for the jaw. Oh, check out that blue tongue too. That is pretty cool. So let's put this Allosaurus right next to the Therizinosaurus on the lower shelf. Next, I've got the Roar Strikers Sinoceratops. Let's check it out. I do have a few other Sinoceratops figures, but this one has totally different coloring. It's got this super bright yellow tail, the soft green body, the big horn in the front, and those black eyes. I think that's a really unique choice for a dinosaur like this. So let's put this Sinoceratops on the top shelf right there. And last of the new dinosaurs that I'm going to unbox is this tiny little Therizinosaurus. This is a very small Therizinosaurus figure, but it's still pretty cool. Of course, it's got the iconic huge claws in its hands. You'll notice that it's a dark color, unlike the large ones that are a gray color. But other than that, it has some pretty similar coloring with the larger Therizinosaurus. So why don't we put it right next to the larger one right there. Next up, we've got the Mega Raptor with the red back and the dark blue front. And it's got some white detailing on the tip of its face too. And check out those orange eyes. That's pretty cool. And this figure has an action. It chomps when you press down on its back. So let's put this on the higher shelf right up here. This is a Pyroraptor with the red body and the black legs, tail, and face. It looks pretty evil, I will say. It's got like almost like a mischievous grin on its face almost. I'm gonna put this Pyroraptor right next to the extreme battle damage Allosaurus. This is the Rajasaurus. I've bought this figure really recently. It's got the dark blue body and some lighter detailing on its neck and under its chin too. Let's put this right next to the Therizinosaurus. And I do believe I actually have another Rajasaurus in here. Yep, here it is. This one is brown with some blue detailing on its back and neck. So it is totally different from this other Rajasaurus that we have. But I'm gonna put them side by side. This next Jurassic World Dominion figure is the Ankylosaurus. It's got the clay red body and this super long neck, and you can use the button on its tail to open and close its mouth. Let's put the Ankylosaurus right next to the Sinoceratops. Here we've got two identical Atrociraptor figures, but one is miniature and one is a lot larger. So let's check out this first one. This is a basic figure, so you can't move it too much, and the jaw doesn't open and close, but it still is a great display figure. So let's put this right next to the Mega Raptor. And let's take this little Atrociraptor figure and put it right next to the larger one too. Next up is the Yangchuanosaurus with the green body and the brown and red detailing. Let's put this dinosaur right next to this T-Rex here. This is a pretty cool looking dinosaur. This is the Siamosaurus. It's got the red spine and red face, and the rest of its body is a dark blue color. Let's put this dinosaur right next to the Ankylosaurus. This is the Sound Surge Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is a bit smaller of a figure than many T-Rex figures, but it still has some pretty awesome sound effects. Let's go ahead and put this T-Rex actually right next to this other T-Rex. So we need to move this Yangchuanosaurus and put this T-Rex down right in between. Here we have an Iguanodon figure. This figure is tan, dark brown, and it has some lighter detailing on its back, and it has an action when you press down on its body. It moves its neck up and down. Let's put this Iguanodon right next to the Siamosaurus. I've got a Rowdy Roars Atrociraptor. This one is bright orange, so a bit different coloring than the ones that we saw earlier, and it also has some sound effects that come with it too. Let's put this Atrociraptor actually on the very tall shelf. I've got some space up here too. Here is another Rowdy Roars figure. This is the Dilophosaurus figure, and it also comes with sound effects as well. That's pretty cool. Let's go ahead and put this also on the very top shelf. This is the Hammond Collection Baryonyx figure. So it is super posable and a bit more detailed than normal. And it's also got some cool coloring with the gray and the white and the dark blue on top. Let's put this Baryonyx right next to these Atrociraptors. Here is a miniature Carnotaurus figure. It's got the dark green and orange body. That's pretty cool. Let's put this figure right in front of the big Giganotosaurus figure. See if we can fit it in. Right there. Let's see what else we got. We got another Atrociraptor figure. This one is tan with brown striping. So let's go ahead and put this right next to the other Atrociraptors. And I've also got a few extreme battle damage figures in here too. This first one is a Velociraptor with battle damage on the side. Let's put this one right next to the Baryonyx figure. I've also got the extreme battle damage Coeluris figure. Let's put this figure right in front of the Ichthyovenator on this top shelf. And I've also got the extreme battle damage Dimetrodon figure. It's got the light green body and the orange spine. Let's put this figure right in between the Yangchuanosaurus and the Rajasaurus. Next up, I've got the Moros Intrepidus figure with the green body and the orange tail and orange stripe. I'm gonna put this dinosaur right next to the Iguanodon figure. And next is the Miragaia figure. This figure is darker colored. It's got some black and a dark blue-green color in the back. And it's got those huge spikes coming out of its shoulders too. Let's put this figure right next to the extreme battle damage Velociraptor. And last but not least, I've got these 3 super colossal figures. Let's first put this huge Giganotosaurus figure and put him up at the top of the shelf up here. There we go. That is a huge figure. Next, I've got the Atrociraptor with brown striping, and you'll see on this one that there's 2 tones of brown color on it. And I'm gonna take this figure and put it up on the top of this shelf to the left over here. That's pretty cool. So now it's like the Atrociraptor and Giganotosaurus are fighting. And finally, I've got the Tyrannosaurus Rex figure. And I'm gonna put this figure down below on this lower shelf next to these other super colossal figures.
Today we are checking out a huge bin full of Jurassic World Dominion and Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous.
First up is the huge Jurassic World Dominion Siamosaurus. This is a really long dinosaur. It's got a dark body with a bright red spine, kind of like the Spinosaurus as well. And it has an action button on its tail to activate the jaw. Over from the Camp Cretaceous side, we've got a Cryolophosaurus figure in the dark blue coloring with the white and red detailing all the way up to the crown of its head. And with this figure, you can use the tail to move the neck around. From the Dominion side, we've got the Jurassic World Ampulosaurus. This is another long dinosaur. It's super bumpy and spiky, and it's got the clay red coloring with the brown on the top. And with this figure as well, you can use the tail and the button to control the neck and the jaw. Next up, we've got a Camp Cretaceous Ceratosaurus figure in the gray, dark blue, and red coloring. And it's got an action lever on its back to activate a bunch of different sound effects and roar poses. In the back here, we've got the giant Jurassic World Dominion Tyrannosaurus Rex figure in the dark brown and black coloring. And of course, it's got the button on its tail to activate its jaw. Plus, there's even a little room in its throat that you could probably fit small dinosaurs in there, so it can actually eat miniature dinosaurs. This is the Camp Cretaceous Spinosaurus. This figure is about as big as the T-Rex figure that we just saw. It's got the tan coloring on the side and the bright red spine on its back, as well as the bright red face. And there is a button on its head to activate the jaw. Next up is the Jurassic World Dominion Yangchuanosaurus. This is a pretty big figure and is very textured along its back. You can check out those spikes right along the top, and it's got bumps all over its legs and back as well. And with this figure, you can use the tail to move the neck around and use the button to open and close the jaw. On the Camp Cretaceous side, we've got an Albertosaurus figure with the dark green coloring and the orange detailing. This figure is also very textured. You can see these ridges right along its back, as well as the spikes right in the middle. And of course, you can use the tail to control the head and the jaw. Here's another famous dinosaur from Jurassic World Dominion. This is the Therizinosaurus. This is a pretty big figure, not quite as big as the T-Rex figures, but still pretty large. It's got the dark blue sides. You can see all that texturing that looks like feathers. And it's got the feathers on its tail as well. And of course, it's got these huge claws on its hands that I'm sure you remember from the movie. Of course, there's an action button on its tail to activate the jaw and the neck. This is the Camp Cretaceous Ouranosaurus. It's a pretty different looking dinosaur. This dinosaur walks on all four legs, but it also has a huge bright spine on its back and some cool coloring in the front as well. Plus, it's got a slide lever action for a bunch of different sound effects and poses. On the Dominion side, we've got the Rajasaurus figure in the brown and dark blue coloring. This figure has the single horn on the top of its head and an action that when you press down on its body, it chomps. And check it out, I actually bought some brand new Jurassic World Dominion figures to open up for this video. This first one is the Owen and Parasaurolophus set. Let's check it out. All right, so we've got the Parasaurolophus with some pretty unique coloring. I don't have another Parasaurolophus with this color. It's got some bright blue on its body. And of course, we've got Owen in his winter gear and his lasso to try to catch the Parasaurolophus. Here is another set that I bought to open up in this video. This is the Amber Collection Dr. Ellie Sattler. So this set actually comes with a few extra pieces. Looks like there is a version of her face without the glasses, and with the glasses comes with a walkie-talkie, some extra hands that will be able to hold the gear inside of this belt. There we go, the belt is on and Dr. Sattler is ready to go. Here's another Camp Cretaceous figure. This is a Baryonyx. It's got two different tones of green on its body and the brown on its neck all the way to the top of its head. Plus it has the slide lever action button on its back for the different roar sound effects. Way down here, we've got the Jurassic World Dominion Mega Raptor. Check out the size of those claws on its hand. It's got some pretty cool detailing too with the feathering. And there's the chomping action when you press down on its body. Next up is the Camp Cretaceous Stegosaurus figure with the brown, tan, and green coloring on its body. And this figure's entire body swivels back and forth, so when you press on this hidden action button, the whole back torso swings to get those spikes moving back and forth. Over here, we've got a Jurassic World Dominion Pyroraptor. This is the basic edition, so the coloring's pretty basic, although it's still got some decent texturing and a pretty well detailed face too. This is the Camp Cretaceous Ankylosaurus figure with the blue teal coloring on the top and the yellow underbelly. Plus, it's got the slide lever action to swing its tail back and forth. Next up, we've got some smaller figures. This first one is an Atrociraptor in the white with brown striping color. And I've also got a Pyroraptor with extreme battle damage that you can turn on and off. Over here, I've got the Camp Cretaceous Stygimoloch figure. It is a dark blue color with some purple on its neck and its head, and it's got an action feature that when you press down on its tail, it moves its head up and down as if it's headbutting. Next up from Jurassic World Dominion is the Ichthyovenator. This dinosaur's body is a dark green color, whereas the spine and its tail is a super bright green color. And this figure has an action that when you press down on its body, it does a chomping action. And check out those teeth too. And last of all, we've got a little itty bitty Therizinosaurus figure. It's got the iconic dark blue coloring on its side with the red on the top, and the huge claws on its hands as well.
Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we are checking out a bunch of old Jurassic Park versus Jurassic World figurines. A lot of these figures you can't find anywhere
except on like eBay, and they might be actually pretty expensive in some cases. Plus, I've even got some brand new Jurassic World figures that we're gonna open up as well today. So let's get started. First up of the brand new dinosaurs is the Zungaripterus. This is a flying dinosaur, so let's open it up and check it out. So this flying dinosaur is pretty brightly colored. It's got yellow wings and a yellow body, and then it's got the brown on the very top and on the neck and on the head. You can see there's a bit more bright coloring right on its horn and right along its eyes and nose as well. See if you can open up the mouth. Yep. You can adjust the wings and you can move the neck around as well. And the DNA barcode is right there. Next up is the Moros Intrepidus. Let's check it out. This dinosaur is from the Jurassic World Ferocious pack, and it's pretty adjustable. You can see it's got a soft green color throughout most of its body. It's got some white, and then the orange tail at the back. Let's see if we can open up the mouth. Oh, it's really difficult, but you can. And its joints are pretty articulated as well. You can move the arms, the neck, you can move the legs, and the tail too. Here we've got the Rowdy Roars Atrociraptor. Let's check it out. All right, here is the Atrociraptor. Just put batteries in it, so let's see what it can do. You can see that there's a button up top here and a power switch. Let's turn on the power and let's press the button and see what happens. Oh, that's interesting. So the body does move. It does like this little wiggling thing. If I put it down on the table, I bet it would walk. That's pretty interesting. I do love the coloring on this as well. It is a bright orange color over most of its body. It's got the brown on the top and a little bit of yellow detailing on the legs. It's pretty cool. And last of the brand new dinosaurs is Velociraptor Charlie from the Camp Cretaceous set. All right, another Velociraptor to add to my huge Velociraptor collection. And it's got an action button right here on the top for some slashing. Let's check that out. Looks like it doesn't work too well. Yeah, the slashing action seems like it kind of gets stuck a bit. But still, this is a pretty cool Velociraptor. It's pretty articulate with all its joints. I think this will look great with all my other Velociraptors. All right, let's dig into this giant bin of old Jurassic Park and Jurassic World figures. This is the 1993 Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's got a soft body all over. Its legs are made of hard plastic, as well as its arms are hard plastic that swivel. And this T-Rex has a chomping action. When you squeeze the soft stomach, its mouth opens and closes. It's a little old, so it's not working quite as well as it used to. This is pretty cool. This is a huge T-Rex. Here we've got another vintage Jurassic Park Tyrannosaurus Rex. This T-Rex also has a soft body, except for its legs is a hard plastic, as well as its arms again that you can swivel back and forth. And with this T-Rex, instead of squeezing the stomach, you can move the tail and it moves its head around. That's pretty cool. This is a super old dinosaur figure. This is the Stomp and Strike T-Rex. This is one of the older Jurassic World figures. And how it works is set it up like that, so it's in the roar position, and then you activate the tail and it comes swinging down for a chomp. That is pretty cool. Here we've got a super special and pretty hard to find Jurassic World hybrid Indominus Rex. Let's check out the features of this dinosaur. First, with the arm, you pull that, then it has a chomping action. Second, there's a hidden button right here that when you press, it shoots out its spikes. I'm super glad I have this Indominus Rex, and I love the gold on the underbelly too. That is something you don't see very often. Here is another vintage Jurassic Park dinosaur. This is the Utah Raptor. You can see it's got the JP22 right there on its legs. It's got some huge claws on its feet that are adjustable, and you can move the legs and the arms. And with this Utah Raptor, you can actually pull the legs back to lock into place, and then there's a hidden button underneath its tail that you press to swing them forward. So it's like a chomping action when it's standing up. Here is a vintage Jurassic Park Allosaurus. This dinosaur has a hard plastic body all around, and you can see that some body parts actually come off to reveal battle damage underneath. Look how detailed that is too. You can see like intestines in there, you can see some bone on the part that you take out. And there's even other parts that you can take out too. You can take out part of its leg, see its bone and its muscle right there. And you can even take out part of its tail too. Let's check out that bone underneath. And it just clicks right back into place. Here is another hybrid dinosaur. This is from the old Jurassic World toy line. This is a hybrid Tyrannosaurus Rex. You can see those spines right on the top there. You can actually hide them, and the ones right next to its head. And then when you press this button right here, they'll all slide out. That's pretty cool. Plus, that button doubles as a chomping button. This has some pretty unique coloring on it too. This one back here is a Jurassic Park vintage toy. I believe this is a baby T-Rex, if I remember correctly. You can see it has some battle damage right there on the side. And like many of the other vintage figures that I have, its body is soft, aside from its hands and its feet. And it's got a mostly brown body with a darker brown spots and stripes as well. Back here, we've got a special edition Ankylosaurus. This one's pretty special because it actually has this additional shell that you can remove to reveal the normal shell. And look, it's even got some battle damage right there on the side. So this is pretty cool, and you just click it right back on. And this Ankylosaurus has an action as well. When you move this leg back and forth, you can see that it sticks its head out, and it swings its tail too. Here's another Jurassic World T-Rex. You won't see the JW tattoo on its leg because this one was colored differently. So this one is a red color with black spots and stripes all over. And it's got the chomping action button on its back too. This is pretty cool. Right over here, we've got another vintage Jurassic World figure made by Kenner. This is the Chasmosaurus. It's got that huge shield in the front. It's got the 3 horns on its head. Plus, with this figure, when you move the leg, it moves its head up and down for a roaring action. This is a Ceratosaurus with battle damage. It's got the red on the top with the black stripes, and the rest of its body is a light tan color. And it's pretty articulate with the arms and the legs. Plus, with the tail, when you move that up and down, it opens and closes its mouth. Here we've got an even smaller T-Rex. This is also from the old Jurassic World toy line. It's got the battle damage on the side. Arms and legs can move, and with the tail, you can control the head. You can go up and down, back and forth, and you can open and close the mouth all in one. Right over here is a big winged dinosaur. I believe this is a pteranodon. You can fold in the wings, make it easier for storage, and it's got 2 buttons on its back. One flaps the wings, and one opens and closes the mouth. Here we've got a bunch of classic Jurassic World Velociraptors. I have a ton of these. You can see that these 2 are tan with the green striping on top. This one is a dark green with the black striping on top. And with each of them, you can move the arms and the legs. Can't open the mouth or close them or anything like that. But these are actually some of my biggest Velociraptors, which is pretty cool. This is the Ankyloranodon, and it's a pretty weird looking dinosaur. It's got a light color over most of its body and the bright red striping right on the top all the way to the tail. See, it's got some spikes or feathers or something like that on the top of its head, on its back, and on its arms, like wings as well as right on the tip of its tail. And with this figure, you can move its leg up and down for a roaring or chomping action. Here we've got a basic Jurassic World Spinosaurus. You can't open and close the mouth or adjust the neck on this one. And it is smaller than a lot of the other Spinosaurus figures that I have. But it's still got the same iconic coloring as my other Spinosauruses. with the red on the top, the white in the middle, and the green on the bottom, as well as the red right around its eyes. Next up, from Jurassic World, we've got a Dilophosaurus that is super brightly colored with orange and green and yellow. This is a super colorful dinosaur. Plus, with this figure, it comes with an action. When you move the tail up and down, it swings its head up and down. Over here, from Jurassic World again, is a Ceratosaurus with pretty unique coloring. It's got brown over its whole body, and then a light orange detailing on its back all the way to its horn. And the action button on its back activates its roar and its jaw. Next up, from the Jurassic World toy line, JP63, we've got a classic Baryonyx. This dinosaur is super thin looking, and with its right foot, you can move it back and forth to twist its neck back and forth too. Here is another hybrid dinosaur from Jurassic World. This looks to be like a Triceratops and Stegosaurus hybrid. Plus, it's got the battle damage right there on the side. This dinosaur is super bright with a light blue on most of its body and dark blue detailing on its feet and in the front too. And this dinosaur has an action. When you move the tail, it swings its head forward for a stabbing action. This one is a similar hybrid as the one we just saw, but with different coloring. You can see it's a dark green with some tan detailing on its body, with the same battle damage. I believe this is also a Stegosaurus and Triceratops hybrid, with the same stabbing action too. This classic Jurassic Park figure, I believe, is called an Amargospinus. It's got some bright red accenting on the top of its body. It's got some horns right there on its neck, and the rest of its body is black and tan. Let's check out the actions on this dinosaur. You can see when you move this leg, it activates those spines to go up. It also moves those spines on its neck, and it opens and closes its mouth for a roar too. So it's doing 3 things at once. I see a few more Jurassic World Velociraptors. See, we've got the dark green with black striping. We've got a brown with gray striping. We've got a special one over here that is a bright green with red striping, and this one actually has a few actions on it. It's got a battle damage button right on its side, and the tail activates the mouth too. I think there's one more back here. Yep, here is another Velociraptor, also with the battle damage on its side and the tail chomping action. This figure is another vintage Jurassic Park figure made by Kenner. This is a Pachycephalosaurus. You can see it's still got the restraint around its waist, but when you take that off, you can see that there's actually some battle damage revealed underneath, which is pretty cool. And as you're probably guessing, since it's a Pachycephalosaurus, the action button that you press right here is for the headbutting. But this figure is so old that it'll actually fly off. As you can see, it's kind of broken. But that's still a pretty cool action for a Pachycephalosaurus. Over here, we've got some small Jurassic World Indominus Rex figures. This one's the smallest, so let's check this one out first. You can see that there's some battle damage on the side, and just like those smaller T-Rexes we saw earlier, you can use the tail to control the face to open and close the mouth, to move the neck around, and all that. This slightly larger Indominus Rex has battle damage as well, but you can open and close this one actually. And then you can just pop it right open. Plus, you can use the tail for the chomping action too. Here's a big dinosaur. This is from the Jurassic World Legacy Collection. This is the Extreme Chompin' Spinosaurus. It's got the green body with the red and white stripe. And of course, you can move the neck around and activate the chomping with the button on the top of its head. Here's an even smaller Spinosaurus, but this one looks a lot different. This is an older Spinosaurus figure from Jurassic World. You can see that it's blue along most of its body. It's got some gold coloring on its belly, and then the bright red spine. And like the small Indominus Rex and small T-Rexes that we saw earlier, you can use the tail to move the neck and open and close the jaw. We've got another big T-Rex. This is from Jurassic World. It's tan in color all over its body, and it's got the button on the top of its back that activates the jaw. Here is another vintage Jurassic Park Baryonyx. This is another super slim dinosaur again. You can see it's got the orange striping on the top. And like the other Baryonyx from Jurassic Park, when you move this leg, it twists its head around. Here we've got a super weird looking dinosaur from Jurassic Parks. This is a Lycanops. Kind of looks like a saber-toothed tiger in a way. It's got those huge fangs in its mouth, and the mouth is spring-loaded so you can open and close it. This is from Jurassic World, and I believe this is the Proceratosaurus. You can see most of its body is a light tan color with some gray detailing on its back all the way up to its face, and it's got the bright red right on top of its face too. Here is another Pachycephalosaurus, but this one is from the old Jurassic World line. And you can see with the tail that you can move its head up and down and back and forth. This is another Jurassic Park vintage toy, and it is, I believe, a Dilophosaurus. This figure is pretty small and pretty slim, but you can see those iconic frills right at the top of its head. Here are a few more Jurassic World figures. This, I believe, is another Pteranodon with wings that you can fold up or extend. It's got the action button on its back for flapping its wings. And with this figure, you have to manually open and close its mouth. There is no button for it. This figure is a Jurassic World Mosasaurus. You can see it's got the battle damage on the side that you can open and close. Plus, with this figure, you can use the front fins to activate the jaw. We've got some more Jurassic Park vintage figures in here. This first, I believe, is a Velociraptor with red on the top and orange on the sides. This other figure I have in my hand is a baby T-Rex. You can see with this baby T-Rex that you can actually move the leg around. You can see that it's broken in a way. It did originally come with a bandage that you use to cover that. But all in all, this is a pretty cool figure. Here is another hybrid Triceratops Stegosaurus from Jurassic World. It's got the battle damage on the side, and just like we saw with the other figures, you can use the tail for a stabbing action. Here are two other similar Jurassic World figures. Both of them have the tail chomping action. You can see this one is a T-Rex with battle damage, and this one is a Spinosaurus with battle damage. Let's check out those chomping actions. And last of all is the classic Velociraptor from Jurassic Park. Let's check it out. It's got the chomping action in the front, and you can adjust the arms and the legs too.
Back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today we're checking out not just one, but two bins of Jurassic World figures. There are 100 Jurassic World figures in here.
Let's get started with this bin on the right. First up is this hybrid Indominus Rex figure. Even got sound effects too. Plus, there's spikes that come out on its back too. This is an extreme battle damage orange Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's got the battle damage all over its body, and there's an action at the top of its head to activate the jaw. Next up is the Stomp and Escape T-Rex. This T-Rex has a button on its back for the jaws, and you can use the tail for a stomping action. Here's another Indominus Rex figure. This one has a rubber neck while the rest of its body is a hard plastic, and you can use the arms to open and close the jaws. Over here, we've got a Terran T-Rex. This T-Rex is pretty cool because it has a button that activates the tearing action with its mouth. Look at that. That's pretty intense. And there's another button on its back to activate the tail. Over here we've got a really cool Spinosaurus figure. This figure is pretty big and it's got some awesome coloring and detailing all over its body. And like many of the other large figures, it has a button on the top of its head to activate the jaw. This, I believe, is called the Ciats Microrarum. It's got an orange and blue body with some gray detailing as well. It's got tons of spikes on its head, and you can use the tail to control the mouth and the neck. This is an orange Velociraptor. It's a pretty basic figure, so you can only move the arms, the legs, and the tail, but it's pretty large and still pretty cool. Here is a huge Allosaurus figure. This has the classic coloring for many of the Allosaurus figures, and best of all, it's got battle damage right on the side that you can open and close. This is a T-Rex figure, but with some cool coloring. It's got the red and the black spots all over its body, and the light underbelly as well. Plus, it's got an action button on its back to activate the jaw. Here's a similar T-Rex of the same size, but with totally different coloring, and actually, this one is a hybrid T-Rex because it has spines that pop out of its back, just like that. Next up is a Carcharodontosaurus figure. This figure is medium sized and it has one action button on its back to activate the chomping action. This is an Albertosaurus figure. It's got the dark green body with orange detailing, and you can use the tail to control the head and jaw on this figure. Here is a medium-sized Velociraptor figure. It's a lot bigger than many of the Velociraptor figures that I have, and I actually have a few other that are very similar to it as well. Check these out. They're all around the same size and have many of the same features. This one is a light tan with green stripes. This one's darker colored, and this one actually has some battle damage on its side that you can press. I believe this dinosaur is a Pachycephalosaurus. It's got a dark purple coloring with some detailing along the top and an action button with its tail for the headbutting. Next up, we've got a smaller Indominus Rex figure with battle damage on the side that you can open and close. That's pretty cool. Plus, you can use the tail to control the head on this figure too. Next up, I believe this is the Nasutoceratops figure. It's got the dark blue body with some different coloring all throughout. It's got those huge horns in the front and two action buttons. One to lift up its head and one to swing its tail. This is a huge Pteranodon figure. It's pretty basic because it can't do a whole lot, but it has some pretty cool coloring on the wings. You can move the wings up and down, as well as open and close the mouth. I've got another winged dinosaur here, but I'm actually not sure what type of dinosaur this is, so let me know in the comments below. This big dinosaur, I believe, is called an Amargosaurus. It's got two huge ridges on its neck that go all the way down its back to its tail, and it has two action buttons, one to operate the neck and one to operate the tail. Here's another huge Velociraptor figure. This one is actually Velociraptor Blue. It's got these stripes down its side, and you can move the arms, the legs, and the tail on this figure. This is the basic Scorpius Rex figure. It's got the poisonous quills on its tail, and you can move the arms and legs on this figure too. Next up is the Pentaceratops figure. This figure is pretty close to a Triceratops, but it's got a huge frill on the front and a ton more horns too. You can use the action button to lift up its neck and to swing its torso around too. Here's a couple more medium-sized Velociraptor figures. This first one is a dark green with black stripes, and this other one is a lot brighter, and it actually has battle damage on its side as well. That's pretty cool. Plus, with this figure, you can use the tail to open and close the jaw. Here is a Triceratops figure with the clay red coloring and the brown on the top, and it's got one action button to lift up the head. This next figure, I believe, is the Sinoceratops. Also looks quite a bit like a Triceratops as well, but again, some big differences in the front. And with this figure, you can use the tail to control the head. Next up is the giant Quetzalcoatlus dinosaur. This winged dinosaur is from the new Jurassic World Dominion movie and has a few action buttons on it. The first action button you can press to flap its wings, and the second button activates its jaw. Here's a Dimetrodon figure with the light blue-gray coloring on the sides and the giant red spine on top.
Check out these smaller dinosaurs. I think these are both called Proceratops. We've got one with the purple coloring and a little bit of yellow. The other one is light green with also some yellow coloring as well. This is a dark green and light green Sauropelta with those huge spikes coming out of its back. Here is a smaller carnivore dinosaur. This is a Herrerasaurus, and it's got an action button with its tail that opens and closes its jaw. Here is a Styracosaurus figure. It's got those two super bright circles right on the front and tons of horns around its head too. Here is the Shringosaurus figure. It's pretty odd looking. It's got the yellow body with the brown detailing on top and a super long neck and some horns at the very top. This is the Miragaia figure. It's got a dark body with some lighter coloring in the back and those two giant horns sticking out of its back too. Here's a smaller Triceratops figure with battle damage right on the side that you can open and close. This is a Stygimoloch figure with the dark brown coloring on the sides and some darker detailing along the top, plus an action button to activate the headbutting action. This is a Parasaurolophus figure. This is a newer one, I think from Jurassic World Dominion. It's got the light tan body with some darker detailing right along the top. Here's another Pachycephalosaurus figure with a light tan body and the darker coloring along the top, and the action button on its tail to activate the headbutting. This is a baby Brachiosaurus figure. You can move the neck up and down as well as move the legs and open and close the jaw too. And here are two Gallimimus figures, one with a dark green coloring and one with the light tan and brown coloring along the top. We've got one more bin to go, but before we do, let's check out these brand new ones that I just bought, including this giant Dreadnoughtus figure. Let's open this one up first. All right, here is the Dreadnoughtus fully assembled. It's actually really hard to show even the whole thing on camera because it is so long. This neck is a lot longer than a Brachiosaurus, I think. Let's check out the head first. You can open and close its mouth. And you can move the neck back and forth. See that swivel right there? You can adjust the legs. And you can even move the tail back and forth too. This figure is ginormous, and it has some pretty cool coloring along the top and the sides as well. This next figure, I think, is pronounced the Rugops Primus figure. It's from the Ferocious pack of Jurassic World Dominion. This is a pretty cool looking figure. It's got the dark green body with the black tail and the black detailing around its head. And you can move the legs, the arms, the neck, and the head as well. Next up is the Jurassic World Herrerasaurus figure. This figure has a lighter green body with some teal blue coloring along the top, while its face is that dark green color too. You can open and close the jaws manually, and you can move all the other limbs as well. Next is the Jurassic World Legacy Collection, Dr. Ian Malcolm. Here is Dr. Ian Malcolm with his fiery torch, and it also came with this small dinosaur. I can't remember the name of this dinosaur, but it's a pretty cool set. And next, we've got the Camp Cretaceous Soundstrike Pteranodon. All right, let's unfold those wings. This is a pretty big dinosaur. It's probably a foot long from wingtip to wingtip, and it's got a few action buttons as well. The first one you can press to flap its wings and get some sound effects. And the second button activates its jaw. Now let's dig into this second bin. First off, we've got an Indominus Rex figure. This figure is huge and has the classic gray coloring that you can see in the movies. Over here is another Pteranodon figure, but this one I believe is from the Amber collection. So it's got rubbery wings and a whole lot more detail too. This is another huge Spinosaurus figure. This one has the green body with the light underbelly, but it's still got the red spine and the red detailing around its face too.
In the back here, we've got a T-Rex figure with the camouflage coloring. That's pretty cool. And this T-Rex has two actions. You can pull up on its tail for a chomping action, or you can pull down on the tail for a roaring action. Here is a T-Rex figure from the first Jurassic World movie. It's got a rubbery tail and a chomping action when you lift up its body. Here's another T-Rex figure with the gray and brown coloring on its body. It's very adjustable with its neck and its legs and its arms, and there's the button at the top of its head for chomping and roaring. This is a Carcharodontosaurus figure with the blue coloring on the sides and the brighter detailing along its back. And it's got an action button on its back for the chomping. Next is a Stegosaurus figure with the gray-blue body and the lighter underbelly. And this figure has an action button that when you press down right here, it swings its tail back and forth. Watch out for those spikes. This is an Allosaurus figure with a slide lever action on the top, so you can get a bunch of different sound effects and different roaring poses too. Here is a Suchomimus figure with the blue body and the yellow detailing along the top. And this figure has one action button for the chomping. Here's one of my favorite dinosaurs, the Carnotaurus. This figure has the red coloring on the side and the dark purple on top with an action button to activate the jaw and the neck. This, I believe, is another Sinoceratops figure. It's got the light green body with some yellow detailing on its tail and on the front as well. And when you press down on the back of this figure, it lifts its head up. This is another Allosaurus figure with different coloring. It's got the gray body with the yellow detailing. You can move all of its limbs, and it has an action button on its back to activate the jaw. This is a Ceratosaurus figure with the gray coloring on the bottom and some brown and red all the way up to the top of its face. Here is one of my largest Endoraptor figures. This figure has a few different actions. First, there's a button on its tail to activate the arms. You can use the tail to swivel the torso around, and there's a button on the bottom of the tail to activate the jaw. Next up, we've got a huge Dilophosaurus figure with the bright red coloring and the even brighter frills in the front. This is a pretty basic figure though, so you can't do too much with it. You can move the arms and legs and the tail a little bit. Here is the Iguanodon figure from Jurassic World Dominion. It's got the light tan body with some lighter striping along the top, and when you press down on this Iguanodon, it lifts its head up and down. Next up is a Cryolophosaurus figure. This figure has some darker coloring along its body. It's also got some brighter red detailing all the way up to the crown on the top of its head. And you can use the tail to swing the neck back and forth too. Way over here, I believe this dinosaur is called the Kentrosaurus. It looks kind of like a Stegosaurus, but it's got these huge spikes coming out of its side. And this figure has a slide lever action on its back to swing those spikes back and forth. Here is a Triceratops figure in the brown and blue coloring. Plus, you can use the tail on this dinosaur to control the neck. Alright, we've got a Baryonyx figure in here. This one has the light brown and the dark gray-blue coloring. And there's an action button on its back to activate its jaws. We've got another Baryonyx figure in here, but this one is super bright. It's got the bright green coloring along its side and bottom, and the brown along the top, plus that action button to activate its jaw too. Here's a pretty rare dinosaur. This is the Edmontosaurus. It's got some pretty cool coloring along its body, and you can use the tail to control the neck. Next up, we've got a Velociraptor from the Amber collection. This one is the bright orange and brown Velociraptor, and it is super posable. Here is an older Ankylosaurus figure. This one is actually a hybrid, and it has special armor plating that you can take on and off. Plus, it has an action button that when you move this leg, it swings its tail back and forth and moves its head too. I've got a few mini T-Rex figures in here. These are also older figures from the first Jurassic World movie. They're both pretty identical, but with different coloring, and they both have the action where you can move its jaw and its neck by moving the tail around. Looks like I've got some more Velociraptor figures in here. Check out this one. This one is dark blue, but it has the yellow and gold coloring along the top of its head.
I've also got these green velociraptors too. This one is in the sneaking pose, and this one has some really cool detailing along the top of its body. These two figures are both Dilophosaurus figures. This one is the newer figure and is a bit smaller, but it does have an action button on its tail to activate the frills and open the jaw in the front, which is pretty cool. And this older Dilophosaurus figure, I believe from the first Jurassic World movie, it's a bit bigger, has battle damage on the side, and you can use the tail to move its neck. Here's another Stegosaurus figure. This one has the brown, tan, and green coloring, and it also has an action button that when you press down right here, it swings its tail back and forth. Looks like I've got 3 more Ankylosaurus figures, all with different coloring. This first one is brown and has the green and gray coloring on the top, plus with an action button to swing its tail. This next Ankylosaurus has the clay red underside with the tan and brown on top. And this third Ankylosaurus has the yellow coloring on the bottom with the green and gray on top, and a slide lever action to swing the tail back and forth. Here is another Dilophosaurus figure from the first Jurassic World movie, and this figure is super bright. Plus, it has the action on its tail to move its neck up and down. Here's another giant Stegosaurus figure. This one has a softer green-blue coloring, and it has the action button that you press down to swing its tail back and forth. Here's another Stegosaurus figure, but this one has the gray, brown, tan, and green coloring all over its body. And this one actually has 2 action buttons. The first one moves its head up and down, and the second one swings the tail back and forth. This is a Parasaurolophus figure with the light yellow coloring and the brown stripes, and it's got 2 action buttons. The first moves its head up and down, and the second swings its tail back and forth. We've got some more Velociraptor and Atrociraptor figures in here. First, we've got another Velociraptor blue figure. We've also got this purple and red Velociraptor. And we've got 2 Atrociraptor figures as well. We've got one that's tan and in the crawling pose, and we've got a bright orange-red one with the white striping. Next up, we've got a Sauropelta figure in the clay red color that can swing back and forth, so you better watch out for those spikes. We've also got this Moros Intrepidus figure with the light green coloring and the orange on its tail too. Here's another small Indominus Rex figure. This one also has the battle damage on its side, and you can use the tail to control its jaw and its neck too. This is another Stygimoloch figure. This one does not have any action buttons, but you can move its legs, its arms, and its head around too. And here is also another baby Brachiosaurus figure. This one though has the gray and purple coloring right along the top. And last of all is this Herrerasaurus figure with the dark blue coloring and the lighter detailing on its back and all the way up to its head too.
Welcome to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today I am repainting 5 Jurassic World dinosaur figures. I've got a T-Rex, an Atrociraptor, a Pyroraptor, and more, so let's get started. The first dinosaur figure is the Stomp and Escape T-Rex. As you can see, the original painting was brown with some gray detailing on top, so let's see if we can spice that up a little bit. After I got it all primed up, I started with a soft tan color for the underbelly, which is typical for what you'd see in many T-Rex figures. Next, and my favorite part of this T-Rex, I painted the upper body, the head, and legs a jungle green color. I'm super excited for this one as I don't have that many green T-Rexes yet. I think I only have one other. I wanted to make this dinosaur figure look pretty realistic with a camouflage and natural look, so I took a lot of care to blend in the green into the tan for this one. Then, to bring some texture to all those green parts, I dry brushed a soft brown color to bring out all the texture and wrinkles of its skin. For the mouth, I chose a dark pink color. Looks like I forgot to prime some of the mouth. Whoops. Then for the darkest color of this T-Rex, I chose a dark brown to go from the top of the head all the way down to the tail. This will be the last major color for this dinosaur.
I also used the brown to paint down the side of the body in random patterns and stripes to make it look a little more realistic, as well as on the front of the legs, which I really thought brought the whole body together. And of course, I brought some of that dark brown onto the face too, especially around the eyes to give it more shading and detail. Then I took a brush and dry brushed a light gray color onto all the brown areas to give that a little bit more texture. I think this made it look a whole lot more realistic and looks a lot better than just the flat brown color. Then for the eyes, after I added another white base, I painted the eyes a yellow color with narrow pupils. I wanted this T-Rex to look intimidating, but not too scary. And for the final touches, I painted the teeth sparkling white and the nails a dark, dark black. And there we are, it is all done. I'm really happy with this T-Rex, and like I said, I'm super excited to add another green T-Rex to my collection. Next up is the Atrociraptor figure from the new Jurassic World Dominion series. This figure has the iconic coloring already. I'm sure you recognize it from the movie, but I wanted to replace it with something much more bright and eye-grabbing. So to start it off, I colored the entire dinosaur in a bright yellow color. This will be the base coat for my design. For the next layer, I chose an orange color to paint along the top of the yellow from the head all the way to the tip of the tail. And also on parts of the legs and the arms. It's a pretty similar color to the yellow because I want it to smoothly fade from the yellow into the orange and to the next color that I'll be adding on. Next, for the coolest and most dramatic color of this dinosaur, I added brown to the very top of the body and around the eyes, and I added random stripes going down the sides of the body. It's a pretty dramatic look, and I'm really happy with how it came out. Now that all the big colors are done, I took a lighter brown color and dry brushed all along the lighter parts of its body. Look at how it brings out the texture of its skin all over. For the final touches, I painted all the claws black and the eyes blood red. These dinosaurs are pretty scary in the movie, and I think red eyes are the perfect color to reflect that. That, the Atrociraptor, is all done. Look at how bright it is. This is one of my favorite dinosaurs that I've painted, and I really think it'll pop out from all the other dinosaur figures on my display shelf. Next up is the Jurassic World Dominion Triceratops. The original had a green and brown color combo, and I wanted to switch that up with something entirely different. First, to start off, I painted the belly and the entire underside a light pink color. What color do you think I'm going to combo this color with? If you guessed gray, then you are correct. I had seen a Stegosaurus figure painted a similar way and wanted to try it out for myself. I used this gray to color the entire rest of the body. I'll be doing a few more colors throughout though. Next, to add some more variance to its body, I used a darker gray color all along the top of the body and along the top of the bony frill behind its head. I'm really happy with how this frill is turning out. I chose a light tan color for the horns and the mouth. This is pretty similar to the original. Since these are bony parts of the body, I just think that this color works great with it. I chose a white color for all the toes on its feet and a green color for its tiny little eyes. This is a really tricky part because they're so small, but I think it turned out pretty good. And just a tiny little black dot for the pupils in its eyes. Now for the best part, I chose a bright red color for the bony parts sticking out of its frill, because I wanted these to stand out and be the highlight of this Triceratops. I wanted to bring a little bit more red to the body as well, so I also dry brushed that same red color onto the back of the Triceratops. It's pretty subtle though, it's only just enough to make it look a tiny bit more red. And that's it! This one turned out super cool. I really like how the light pink, the gray, and the red all fit together. This is the Sarcophagus figure from Jurassic World. It's not too bad with the painting originally, but let's see if we can spice it up a bit. I started by painting the belly a lime green color. Many dinosaurs, as I'm sure you've noticed already, have lighter underbellies. Next, I painted a camo green color to the sides. This will help it blend into a swamp or jungle setting. Then for the very top of the dinosaur, I chose a dark brown color. And this color went all the way to the tip of the tail. I bet if this dinosaur was in the water, other dinosaurs probably wouldn't even see it because it looks like a log in the water. I also added some brown detailing around the eyes to help bring out the color of the eyes when I paint those in. Next, I painted the mouth a soft pink color. Then I added a darker pink wash to bring out the texture of the tongue and the other parts of the mouth. I'm a really big fan of dry brushing or adding a wash to a figure because this really brings out a lot of the texture. Then I chose a dark gray wash to add to the top of the dinosaur to bring out more texture there, although it is pretty subtle. I think it makes it look just a little bit more gritty, a little more dirtier like it would in real life. Then I added a brown wash to the belly and underside of the dinosaur to bring out the texture of that area and to make it look a bit more gritty too. Then I carefully painted all of the claws black. These weren't colored differently in the original version, but I wanted to bring more attention to them. And now for the super tricky part, painting the teeth. I chose a bright white color and I had to do multiple layers. I couldn't even count how many teeth there were on this Sarcophagus. And finally, I painted the eyes a bright white color to pop out from that brown background, and I chose to give this dinosaur narrow pupils as well. And there it is all finished. This is a super camouflaged dinosaur, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. This is the Jurassic World Dominion Raptor figure. As you can see, originally it had some pretty basic coloring, nothing too special, it's just mostly red and black. So to start with my own design for this figure, I painted the feet, the hands, and some parts of the face a light gray color. These are parts of the dinosaur that didn't have that many feathers on them, so it's more of just a skin coloring. Now for the best part, I chose a bright fiery red for the bulk of the feathered body. In my opinion, this dinosaur is not meant to blend into its surroundings, so I really want to make it pop. I painted this red all over the torso, the tail, the arms, and a little patch on the leg right there where you can see the feathers. For the remaining parts of the body, I wanted to try a dark blue color to contrast that fiery red. I used this blue on the legs, on the belly, a little bit of the underside of the tail, and on the top of the head. Now one thing I especially wanted to do was bring out the texture of those feathers all over its body. So I used a dark brown gray wash and I put that all over the red to really accentuate those feather designs. Then I blended the gray color of the skin into the other colors and also dry brushed the gray into the blue parts to bring out the texture of those areas. Those blue parts were pretty dark before, but with that gray on top, you can really see the texture. Next, I dry brushed a subtle yellow color near the neck to add some variance in the color, just enough to make it look different from the rest of the body. And for those huge feathers on the top of the head, I chose orange as a complementary color to the rest of the red, and I added a little bit of yellow at the top to bring out more texture of that big feather on the top. To match that feather on the top of its head, I used yellow for the eyes. And once again, I painted narrow black pupils to give it a more menacing look. For the final touch, I painted all the claws dark black for contrast and the teeth of bright white, since those weren't actually colored at all in the original version. And we're done! This is a pretty bright and wild looking dinosaur and totally different from the other ones I've painted so far, and quite a bit different from the original version.
Welcome back to the Amazing Dinosaurs channel. Today, I'm going to show you a huge collection of Jurassic World figures. Let's start with these brand new, and I've actually got this giant one right here. Let's open it up. This is a ginormous Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's got the foot stomping action. And it's got a roar with a button as well. Let's check that out. That is so cool. Plus, this set comes with a cage that you put around its head that it can break free from. Let's go ahead and put that on and check out the action. All right, so here is the trapped T-Rex, but I think he can break free. Let's see him try. Ready? 3, 2, 1, break free! Wow, that is so cool. I love that action. I've got a few more brand new ones to add to my collection, starting with this one. This is the Scorpius. Let's go ahead and open this up. And let's check it out. Wow, look at that really long neck. And I love the coloring on this. This is like a bright blue color. I don't have that many dinosaurs that are colored like this. And that really long neck leading up to this awesome face right there. Look at those teeth too. And I believe this one has an action as well. If you move the tail, then the neck moves up and down. That is so cool. And I've got another brand new dinosaur to add to my collection. This is the Styracosaurus from the Fierce Force collection. Let's check this out. So this looks kind of like a Triceratops, you know? But it has a lot more horns. And this one has an action as well. If you move the tail, then the head goes up and down. And I really like those, it's like a glowing yellow and orange right there on the front of its head. All right, which one should we do next? I think we should do this awesome Indominus Rex. Look at the coloring on this. This is so bright and so cool looking. It's got the blue belly with the purple on the side and on the top. And then it's got that black ridge all the way down with the orange outlining it. This is a really cool Indominus Rex, and it has two actions. You've got the button on the tail for the roar, and you've got a button up top here for the slashing action. That is so cool. Look at all those teeth.
Up next, right in front here, we've got a giant Spinosaurus. Look at the blue coloring on its spine, and look at all this brown and tan. I think that this would blend into the jungle really well. This one would sneak up on you, and it would pounce on you before you could even know it's there. This is a really cool figure. And right over here, we've got one of my favorite T-Rex figures. This one is different from all the others because it has this green and brown coloring all over it that'll make it blend into the jungle more than any of the other T-Rexes that I have. And it has some action buttons as well. It's got the foot stomp right here. And if you move the tail, it'll move its head too. That is super cool. The coloring and detail on this Tyrannosaurus Rex is super realistic. Over here, we've got another Tyrannosaurus Rex. This one is like a brown-orange color. The legs move, the tail moves, the arms, and look at all the battle damage all over it. It's got it on its leg, on its tail, on its side, and I really like the ones on its face too. It makes it look a lot more tough. Look at that. That is so cool. Uh-oh, you better watch out. Here comes another Indominus Rex. This one is a normal colored Indominus Rex, but it still has the same awesome action buttons like we saw on the blue Indominus Rex. Got the roar, and you've got the slashing action. That is so cool, and look at all these spikes and bumps on its back too. This Indominus Rex is huge. Uh-oh, you better watch out. Here comes one of the biggest ocean monsters that we saw in the Jurassic World movies. This is the Mosasaurus. Look at the size of its mouth. That is huge, and all those teeth. If you saw this in the ocean, you better get away fast. All right, we've got another Spinosaurus with different coloring. This one is green and red, and I think would blend into the jungle just as well as the other one probably. Maybe not with the red, but who knows? It's still got the same awesome action button for its jaw. And you can move its arms, its legs, and its tail as well. This is a really cool Spinosaurus figure. Over here, we've got another super cool Tyrannosaurus Rex. This one, though, has the battle damage that you can turn on and off. Check it out with this button right here. That is so cool. So when you're playing with another dinosaur, and the other dinosaur comes along, and it bites him on the side, you can turn on the battle damage just like that. That is super neat. And of course, we've got a Carnotaurus right here. This is like a red and orange dinosaur with a brown on top with all those little spikes. That is so cool. And he's a loud dinosaur. And up top here, you can see that it's got those two huge horns. You better watch out for this one in the jungle. All right, let's keep digging. Over here. All right. This is a Scorpius Rex from the Jurassic World movies. Look at those poisonous spikes. I think they're quills actually on its tail. And it's got two action buttons. Look at all those teeth right there. And the second action button is for the arms. Also, look at that massive claw on its foot. That is so crazy. All right here we've got a giant winged dinosaur. This is the Quetzalcoatl, or I think that's how you pronounce it. But this is a huge flying dinosaur, and it's got two action buttons right there on the top. Let's see what they do. The first one flaps its wings like that. The second one moves its beak up and down. That is super cool. This is a huge flying dinosaur figure. Oh, look at this right over here. One of the coolest dinosaurs from the new Jurassic World movies, the Indoraptor. On this figure, the jaw doesn't open and close, which is a bit of a bummer, but you can still move its arms and its legs and its tail as well. And look at that detail of the gold stripe down its side. Check it out. We've got 2 more Scorpius Rexes right here in the back. Look at this. One of them is a bit smaller than the other. This one has the action buttons just like we saw before. And this one, the smaller one, doesn't have the action buttons, but it still has the same coloring and those poisonous quills on its tail. All right, let's keep digging around. Let's see. All right, here is an Allosaurus. Look at that action. That chomping action right there. That is so cool. This is a gray dinosaur, and it's got those yellow markings all along its back and tail. And it's quite movable as well. You can move all the parts of its body. All right, here we've got an Ankylosaurus with battle damage. This Ankylosaurus has an action as well. If you move its leg, then its tail will move back and forth for hitting its opponents, and its face will move up and down too. That is super cool, and I love that battle damage. That's a cool little detail there. All right, we've got another vicious Indoraptor. This one has a mouth that can open and close, and its entire body basically can move as well. It is fully adjustable. So this is a great model to have up on your shelf. And once again, that gold stripe all the way down its body, that is so cool. All right. Here we've got what I believe is a Ceratosaurus. It's got that big horn on the front and all those tiny little, I think they're like spikes or bumps right along its spine. And it's got an action button as well. Wow, that is super scary sounding. All right, here we've got one of the most popular dinosaurs from the Jurassic World and Jurassic Park movies, the Velociraptor. And this figure is super posable. Look at that, you can move its legs in any direction, even its claw right on its foot can go up and down. This is a great superposable Velociraptor. Up next, we've got a miniature Spinosaurus with battle damage and an action as well. You move the tail, the head can move as well. You better watch out for Spinosauruses whenever you're near water, because these dinosaurs are known for hunting for fish. That is super cool. All right, we've got another Velociraptor right here. I think I got a few more in here. Oh yeah, here is Blue the Velociraptor, and it's got the battle damage too. That is so cool. But this yellow Velociraptor actually has a spring jumping action like that. Look at with its legs, they're spring loaded, so it can leap up into the air. You ready? And back into the bin. This is a super cool Velociraptor and super bright. Oh, look at this super bright dinosaur. This is so colorful, bright blue, and the dark blue and gold as well. This, I believe, is a hybrid dinosaur, I think between a Stegosaurus and a Triceratops. That is so cool, and it's got the battle damage too. Right over here, we've got a miniature Mosasaurus. We saw the big version of this, and now here is a smaller toy version. But this one comes with the battle damage. Look at that, you can even see some bones in there too. look at this one. This is a baby T-Rex. Look at that. It looks a lot like an adult T-Rex. Still has the same stance and overall form, but it's just a lot smaller, and it looks like a baby in some ways. And it's got the action as well. Check this out. We've got another super posable Velociraptor. Look at how you can pose its arms and its legs, and its head and even its neck too. You don't see that very often in figures. And look at those claws again. You can move them up and down, just like how they do in real life. Here we've got another Ankylosaurus, I believe. Look at all that armor plating, and it's got the spikes on the side as well. And it's got an action button right here. When you press it, there goes its tail. You better watch out. You do not want to get hit by that tail. All right, look at this one. This is a Metriacanthosaurus. This is a super bright red dinosaur, and it's got those black stripes all along its back and its tail as well. And it's even got a little bit of like the orange yellow on its face too. And it's got the action button. This is the Edmontosaurus. Look at that. Yellow up top and the blue along its head, and it's a super colorful dinosaur. Do you think that this would blend into the jungle still though? Let me know in the comments below. Look at this giant dinosaur. This is an Pseudoceratops, and check out those giant horns. They kind of look like the horns of a bull, don't you think, in a way? That's really cool. And we've got the action buttons up top as well. This is a massive dinosaur. You better stay out of the way of this one or he might stomp on you. Oh, we've got another Allosaurus right here, but this one looks different than the last one that we saw. This one is blue up top and then a tan on the sides and the bottom. And we've got the action buttons. Let's see what they do. That is super cool. Here we've got a tiny little Stygimoloch with a super hard head and the spikes, and with the action as well, so it can headbutt other dinosaurs to defend itself. And here we've got two differently colored Gallimimuses. We've got a bright orange one here, and then a blue-gray Gallimimus right here. Oh, you know what? We've got another Gallimimus in here. I missed this one. But this one also has different coloring. Look at that blue and red up top, and the orange sides, and the orange tail as well. Just a few dinosaurs left. Here we've got a baby Ankylosaurus. Look at that. It still has that hard covering up top to defend itself against predators. Oh, right here, we've got two twin dinosaurs. These are the Ornitholestes. And they're both brown with the yellow striping on top and a little bit of orange on their face right there. Here we've got a bright green dinosaur. This is the Sauropelta. And check out those massive spikes on its back. I bet those are for defense against predators. And here are our last two dinosaurs. This is the Herrerasaurus, with the battle damage on the side too. That is super neat. And this gray dinosaur is the Troodon.
Want to see more dino videos? Click the subscribe button now.